Benet's Bloody Bits.
Welcome to Triple B. My name is Jason Benet. Filmmaker and makeup artist Steven Kostanski has been on my radar for some time. He directed the film The Void. He also made my favorite film in the Leprechaun franchise. That's right, Leprechaun Returns, which is the last one that came out, which is a direct sequel to the original, smokes the other ones. It's just easily by far my favorite. He also did the cult favorite Psycho Gorman. And now we're to Frankie Freako. This is a callback to a different era, a different time. This is a period piece, but the film, and I try to pay attention to it, never really says when it takes place. But based off the technology as far as the TV and the clothes and the computer, we're looking at late 80s, early 90s. It tells the story about a workaholic yuppie named Conor, who focuses a lot on his work, though according to his boss, he needs to step up his game. And if he really wants a promotion, and his wife, who's lovely, wants a little bit more action in the bedroom, and he's kind of dropping the ball there. So things are not going well. He's just kind of stuck in a rut, needs to get out of this, uncomfortable situation. He goes to his TV like we all do, and he sees an infomercial. You remember back in the day, there were the 1-800 numbers or 976 numbers. Well, this is 1-900-555-FREAKO. And it's a commercial with this weird looking character. He looks like a gremlin. He's got a couple friends, a couple sidekicks with him. So there's 3 people in total. He calls the number and they get transported to his house. They tear it up, turn everything upside down, make it look like a junkyard, but they're giving him a little flavor to his life because he's very much structured and likes everything clean and neat and organized. It's kind of like me, but they make it a whole lot more difficult for him in that sense because his wife is away on business and she's going to come home and she's not going to be happy with what she sees. But these 3 characters, where they seem mischievous and bad and something that he needs to get out of the house, they're really good guys. It's actually 2 guys and a girl, and they're from a freak world. And they have a president who's taken over and he's just making everybody either a slave and doing work that they don't want to. So he's all about greed and power. So you realize that they're actually good guys. They're not the bad guys. Without giving too much away, Conor gets transported to their world. He goes toe to toe, head to head, mano a mano with the president, who is Mr. Munch. And it's just this colorful, fun throwback. Now, the makeup artist turned director, like I said before, is Steven Kostanski. I hope, Steven, if you're watching, I hope I'm getting your last name right. This is a love letter to not so much Gremlins, but the films, the ripoffs, the ones that were inspired from it. So I think of Ghoulies, Munchies, Hobgoblins, Critters, by way of design of the Garbage Pail Kids. If you look at Frankie Freako and the 2 other characters, it's the Garbage Pail Kids. It's the late, was it 1987 film? That whole puffy, ballooned look. It's absolutely a wink and a nod to that film as far as the design. But if you look deeper, it's also an appreciation of a makeup artist turned director who's no longer with us, John Carl Buechler. The boss in the film for Conor, his name is Mr. Buechler. John Carl Buechler created the makeup effects for the Ghoulies films, at least the first 2, and the third one, which he directed, Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College. So you get what Steven's going for. This is my, homage to John Carl Buechler and those films, in particular Ghoulies. So you have that character, Mr. Buechler. We got that out of the way. Also, the president, Mr. Munch, that's Munchies, the Roger Corman produced film that was inspired from Gremlins, which was this big box office hit. Everybody was looking for these little creature feature films that they could make. But there's one film in particular that people might not click with. The 1992 film, The Vagrant, directed by another makeup artist turned director, Chris Walas. And it's Bill Paxton is the lead, and he's dealing with this homeless guy, this vagrant who turns his life upside down, trashes his house, messes up his marriage. As much as it's a nod to John Carl Buechler, Ghoulies, Munchies, it's also The Vagrant, which is a great film in itself. It's on Blu-ray from Scream Factory, came out in 1992. It's a lot of fun. Frankie Freako, I cannot recommend enough. I'm glad I got this one in before the end of 2024. It's easily in my top 5 of the year. It's just 80 minutes, low budget fun. You can see the behind the scenes making of this film. It's really a labor of love. They don't have a ton of money. You got a director who's working the puppetry because the animatronics look great, but he's also behind the scenes directing this thing, which I don't know how you do both. The digital effects, there are not a lot, but when they are there, they're kind of like Psycho Gorman, which is good. They're there. They're needed for a certain reason, but they don't overwhelm the film. So Frankie Freako is available from Shout Studios. I bought it on Blu-ray. I highly recommend you checking it out. Go in with a film that's harking back to late 80s, early 90s, cheeky, fun puppetry films. If you like Ghoulies and Munchies and Little Devils and all these other different films, Frankie Freako is a cult classic, is a midnight movie. I had so much fun with it. It just put me in a good mood. You're going to smile most of the running time because it's just that kind of film. So, Steven, I salute you. Thank you making for such a fun flick. I know you've worked on quite a few films like the VHS series, ABCs of Death. I can't wait to see what you do next as a filmmaker and a makeup effects artist. I looked at your IMDb credits and you're killing it. You're doing a lot of great things in the genre. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your time. Stay scared and talk to you soon.